He used to feel the thrill of pushing all his chips in. Not on Wall Street, not in a trading room, but at poker tables, in dimly lit rooms, in places where skill, bluff, and psychology collided. Back then, his edge was his read on people. The way someone shifted in their seat, the pause before they spoke, the slight tremor in their hand when the stakes got high. That's where it started. In the gambling world, where emotion and logic are in a constant fight for control. But this isn't a story about poker. This is a story about how a man left the world of high-stakes cards and found his edge in the financial markets. Not by changing who he was, but by applying everything he already knew about risk, discipline, and psychology. This is Anonymous Edge. He started gambling young, not because he needed the money, not even because he was chasing the high. It was the math, the pattern recognition, the pressure. At first, it was poker with friends. Then it became online tournaments. Then casinos, live games, buy-ins that could wipe out your bank account in one mistake. But he didn't approach the game like most. He didn't chase losses. He didn't bluff just to feel clever. He tracked his hands, watched patterns, measured win rates. He kept journals, logged every hand, analyzed every session, even the losing ones, especially the losing ones. Most gamblers hated risk. They thought they loved it. But in reality, they were addicted to winning. The second variance hit, they fell apart. But not him. He understood the game was statistical, probabilistic. You could do everything right and still lose. And that didn't scare him. It made him sharper. Then came the shift. It wasn't a big dramatic event. There was no rock-bottom moment, just a quiet realization. He had outgrown the game. He wanted more scale, more opportunity, more structure. And poker, no matter how disciplined you played, always came with a ceiling, a limit to what one man could do with his own two hands. That's when someone introduced him to trading. At first, he dismissed it. Charts looked like noise. Technical analysis looked like voodoo. It reminded him of new poker players obsessing over tells instead of playing tight and disciplined. But then he started studying, and the similarities started jumping out at him. Risk management, edge, probability, emotional control, discipline, data. It wasn't different at all. It was poker, just with a new set of cards, a new environment. Same game. He was hooked. He approached trading like he was preparing for the World Series of Poker. Not just casually, obsessively. He studied market structure the way he once studied hand ranges. He journaled every trade like it was a tournament hand. Most beginner traders skip the psychology. He started with it, because he already knew. The strategy doesn't matter if your mind isn't right. You can have the best setup in the world, but if you panic when price goes against you, it means nothing. He saw it all the time in poker. Players with genius-level understanding of the game, undone by one bad beat. The second emotion takes over. The edge is gone. So he trained for that first. He built routines, morning checklists, end-of-day reflections. He meditated. He fasted. He forced himself into discomfort to simulate the pressure of losing. Because in poker, like trading, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. And he was prepared. But still, trading hit him in ways he didn't expect. In poker, you're against other people. In trading, you're against yourself. He struggled with overtrading, Not because he was greedy, but because the market is always open. There was always another chart, another candle, another maybe. Poker had structure, start times, blinds, a dealer, a clock. Trading, it was just him. An endless opportunity. That was dangerous, and he knew it. So he implemented rules, strict ones, maximum number of trades per day, fixed risk per trade, mandatory walkaway time after a loss. He went from playing hundreds of poker hands a day to taking 3 trades a week, sometimes less. He realized the more he waited, the better he did, the more he sat on his hands, the more his edge grew. It was the same in poker. The pros fold 80% of hands. They wait, they conserve. They strike only when the odds are stacked in their favor. So he did the same in the markets. No more impulsive entries. No more just testing this idea. No more, I think it'll bounce here. It was all process, all probability, all edge. Eventually he passed his first prop firm challenge, then another, then another. But he didn't scale fast. He didn't rush into max allocation. He knew from poker, fast wins often led to fast crashes. He kept his risk low, built capital, tracked everything. And slowly, the wins started stacking. Not just in dollar amounts, but in confidence, in consistency, in self-control. People started asking him for advice, what strategy he used, what indicators, what course he took. He just smiled. Because none of those things mattered as much as this. He understood himself. He knew when he was tilted. He knew how to step away. He knew how to lose and not break. That was his real edge. He tells people now, trading isn't about being right. It's about surviving long enough for your edge to show up. You can be wrong 45% of the time and still be profitable if you manage risk, if you control emotion, if you follow your process. But if you start flipping switches, if you go off script because you're feeling it today, if you revenge trade, you've already lost. He knows this because he's been there in poker, in trading, in life. Every loss has a lesson, but only if you're willing to look in the mirror. That's why he still journals every session, still reviews every trade, still asks, did I execute my plan? Or did I improvise? That question has saved him more money than any win ever earned. He doesn't talk about trading publicly. He doesn't brag. He doesn't show his dashboard. He doesn't need to. He's not in this for followers. He's in it for mastery. And mastery is quiet. It's found in silence, in self-control, in patience. He knows the market can humble anyone, at any time. So he respects it. Every trade is a risk. Every setup a test, not just of his strategy, but of his character. He says, I don't trade for money. I trade to become better. That's why he wins. Because even when he loses, he learns. He adapts. He reflects. And that reflection becomes refinement. That refinement becomes discipline. And that discipline becomes the edge. He still plays poker sometimes. Not for money, not for the thrill, but to remind himself, to remember the roots, to revisit the game that taught him how to think under pressure, how to sit with discomfort, how to make decisions with incomplete information. It's all the same game. Trading, poker, life. The rules may change, but the principles remain. Stay patient. Manage risk. Play the long game. Control what you can and accept what you can't. He's not flashy. He's not loud. But if you sat next to him on a trade desk, you'd feel it. The calm, the clarity, the confidence. It's the presence of someone who's already played 10,000 hands and knows exactly what he's doing. This is Anonymous Edge. And this was episode 2, The Gambler Who Became a Risk Manager.